books to go over. My April TBR is very questionable. I have really big dreams for April. I don't know if I will be able to get through all of them since some of them are fantasy, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start actually with March Wrap-Up, which is the first book that I read was Twisted Lies. So this is basically a fake dating trope. Christian and Stella, they live in the same building. He owns the building. He is a billionaire who owns like a security company, and Stella is a influencer. Now she also has a pretty like scary stalker, and so he ends up moving her to his apartment because he's like getting out of control. And it's basically just like a slow burn of them being together, but obviously just fake dating. All of the other Twisted books are also slow burns in my opinion, except Twisted Love, but this one I was so bored by it and I was deceived. People loved Christian in this, and I'm just trying to figure out why. Christian gave me stalkerish vibes and just kind of like a psychopath, because like Stella would be talking to a guy and like he's imagining killing him, and I'm just kind of like, this is not healthy. I don't understand his appeal. Stella is amazing. I love her so much. Her character development was so inspiring just because she went from letting everyone walk over her to literally building her own fashion empire. And I'm just, the way that this book wrapped up too, like I think I'm gonna give it a decent rating just because of the way that everything just came together. And I was actually kind of afraid that we wouldn't get a little bit of like everyone together and just like wrap up the entire series, but she did really well at the end. Other than that, like it's just such a slow burn, and I've read a lot of slow burn books, and this was really painful, and I'm just very bored by Christian, so I'm gonna rate this book a 3. Next book that I read was Hooked, which is the first book on the Never After series, and it's basically a Disney villains reimagined where they take all of these villains and just have their own backstory. So this book is basically about Hooked, and he is seeking revenge on Peter because he did something in the past, and he uses Wendy as a way to get revenge. I love that concept, but the way that it was executed in this book, I just don't even get me started on the way that he called Wendy his pet and she was okay with it. I don't understand why she didn't even think to maybe question why he was calling her his pet and why she was okay with it. At the end of the book, I just wasn't attached to any of the characters. The only one that I was attached to was literally Wendy's brother, who probably appeared like twice, and I wanted him more in there, but I didn't. And like, why am I getting attached to a character that is not even there that much and not the two main characters, which says a lot. I give this book probably a 3 too because it was entertaining. I finished this book in 2 days. So next book that I read was November 9th, and this is such a cute romance. It's basically about two people, Fallon and Ben, who meet on November 9th. Now November 9th is a very big, something happened on November 9th for both of them, and so they meet up every November 9th so that they, you know, they can have some sort of like a happy day, because it was so monumental for them. And the way that this was written was so cute. Their third November is literally my favorite one. Oh, that was my favorite year, and I just love it so much. It's so cute. I wish that we didn't get, you know, like the plot and like everything that happened at the end, because it was so cute and just so wholesome, and like I just thought that they were soulmates until, you know, like the revelation that happened. It's so good. I will always love this book so much, and I will always remember Stella and Ben, but it's really good. Next book that I read, and the final book that I read in March, or finished in March, was Daisy Jones. Now I've been wanting to read this book for so long, and I've had it on my shelf for a while. It's just, I was very scared because Evelyn Hugo put me in a really bad reading slump. So for some reason in my mind, I thought that if I read another Taylor Jenkins read, she was gonna put me in a reading slump again, and I didn't want that to happen. But I was very surprised. I ended up loving this book so much. This is basically about Daisy Jones and the Six and how they became a band, and it takes you through like from the beginning of basically their childhood, like Daisy and like the two brothers the Dunn brothers, and it takes you through like their childhood and like when they started their own careers and then how they formed. Hands down, I could not put this down. I love this book so much. I give this book a 5 out of 5. I still remember this. I love this book. So those are all the books that I read. I am currently reading Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I have that in my backpack and it's very, very good. I love the way that they both met, and it's really cute the way that the main boy character meets her, and like the way that he was described. I can literally imagine him, so I'm really excited to finish that because everyone raved about that book so much, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna read this, and I'm very excited. I don't know what's gonna happen. I know that there's a reason why they haven't talked to each other in 15 years or 10 years, and I need to know. I need to know. I have such a big expectation for me to read all of these, and I don't know why, because some of them are pretty hefty and 3 of them are fantasies, which can sometimes be a little time consuming because they can kind of like put you in a little bit of like a little funk, and it can take you a little bit to read them, especially for me because I'm not really a big fantasy person. But the reason why I picked them up was because people love the ACOTAR series and I need to know what the hype is about, and also because a lot of like big booktubers are in their fantasy era and I want to know why. I have a little bit of FOMO, so I need to understand why people are in their fantasy era. The first book that I picked up was Scar, which is the second book in the Never After series. This one is basically about Scar from The Lion King, and I think that this is enemies to lovers. I think his brother is ascending to the throne and he's set to marry a girl, Sarah, I think is her name. What I'm thinking is he's probably gonna want to kill his brother so he can ascend to the throne. I don't know, and like people are really scared of him. He has a scar. He's just like a serious person, and I need to know why he even has a scar in the first place. Next book that I read was Ugly Love. Now people love this book so much and I need to know why. I really do, because they say that it's sad and I don't know why, because like it's literally just like a friends with benefits, and like I understand like they can't talk about the past and there's no future for them, but it's like, why is it sad? I know Colleen Hoover and her way of writing, and I know she's gonna punch me in the face with this book, and I'm very, very intrigued as to how she's gonna do it. Next book is obviously, it has to be a Lucy Score book. This is the second book in the Knock 'Em Out series. I do have a shirt from it because I love Things We Never Got Over, and I had to get the second one. I did go to a book signing for this in Dallas, and little humble brag, but I did get it signed by Lucy Score, and I am just so excited to read this one. People are really liking this, and I need to know how it's gonna play out. Obviously it's a pretty thick book. All of her books are pretty thick, so it's basically like it takes after when he got shot and how he's like, he was like a golden retriever, and after he got shot he just got into like, maybe I think he just went down to like a grumpy guy, just like Knox. I am very excited to read another Lucy Score book. So now we're gonna get into a couple fantasy books, and I'm very scared. I've been putting off the ACOTAR series for a very long time, and mostly because of the way that people hype them up. And this is a really big series. Like, this is the second book and it's pretty big. The first one isn't as big, but I'm very intimidated by fantasy books because they just hold so much information. You have to hold a lot of information, and I don't know if I'm ready for that kind of commitment and go into an actual world and learn from the beginning and just learn all these things all at once. I'm very excited but also a little nervous, so I'm gonna be reading the ACOTAR series, the first 2 books, just because it's so big and I obviously want to read so much in April, so I'm gonna start with these 2. The last book that I'm gonna be reading is The Ninth House. Now the reason why I picked this book up is because Stephen King literally said that it was his favorite fantasy novel that he's read in years. And to me, that's a really big statement, especially coming from like a really famous, well-known author, and like I'm a very nosy person, so if Stephen King says something is really good, I need to know why. But I'm really excited to read this one. I don't know much about it other than like he goes to Yale and like he discovers like a different type of world. Like I'm thinking like maybe this is kind of like a dark fantasy, and I'm all for that because I need to get a little bit out of my comfort zone and stop reading like all these sunshine cute little romance books and actually get into like dark fantasy or just fantasy in general. I think I'm going to be doing like a little reading vlog of reading a couple of these and like giving my opinions, especially this one, because I haven't really seen too many people talk about this. I think Sarah picked it up, but she hasn't read it yet. So that is my big TBR and my monthly wrap up, and I am really excited that I picked up books that I will normally not get, and just books that people have recommended for so long. Yeah, if you guys want to stick around, make sure to subscribe and like. You guys can also follow me on anywhere you guys want to. I usually post on Instagram when I finish a book and like my thoughts on it, and it will be really cool if you guys like read those books too, and like we can talk about that, because I actually don't have many friends who read or read the same genres that I do, so it'll be cool to just like talk about them, especially like when you're really heated, like Daisy Jones. Like I was really heated and I was ready to talk to someone, but no one has either like read the book or even started it. Yeah, you guys can do that, and I will see you guys anywhere else on the internet. I hope you guys have a good day or night wherever you guys are from, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.